Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Christian Music Bros podcast. So once again, I'm Brendan, and Braden sends his regards. He was here earlier today, but he had something come up. He says hello, and he says if you want to see him, go watch our last episode. He's there. So thank you again for tuning in. Tom with Krystal. I said I was going to butcher your last name, so I'm going to say Krystal. I want to say her last name. So Krystal, the floor is yours now.
Polychronis.
I was gonna I told you right at the beginning. I was like, how do I say your last name? And I was like, I'm gonna
Yep.
say it. And I was like, I forgot how to pronounce it.
It's all good. It's all good. It's the effort, it's the effort that counts.
And thank you for joining me today. Like I said, sorry Braden's not here. He sends his regards and he hopes you're doing well and everything. And thank you for tuning in to Christian Music Road podcast, everyone. So we'll just start diving in. Just we'll make it a little easy. Can you tell us a little bit about your music background, how you got started in music, or came out the Nashville?
Oh, yes. I think I just actually posted something on my Instagram the other day of me. I think I was 4 years old. I can't remember not singing. So I grew up definitely singing. I would do talent shows and concerts and um I loved like musicals and I'd attend them and I'd want to be in them, but then I also grew up a gymnast, so I had to pick and choose. So I kind of had to put music on the back burner because gymnastics was definitely an additional passion of mine, and you couldn't do both things. So growing up, I was very much into gymnastics. And then after basically I turned 15, I think my dad bought me a guitar, taught me a few chords. I started writing. So that kind of got me really hooked onto songwriting
Mhm.
and did a few things in the Boston area when I was out of college. I started recording. Well, I started recording music when I was 16 years old, just in my
Mhm.
free time. Um, wrote a really bad album. It was horrible. The experience was awesome, though. I learned a lot, like a lot. I got to work with some really cool people, and that was kind of my songwriting, like the bug, and people were like, you have to move to Nashville, you have to move to Nashville. So I ignored them for about 5 years. And I was like, I can songwrite from anywhere, but you really can't. So then I moved to Nashville, worked with a publisher for a few years, and just wrote in the country world a lot. Um, and then prior to that at my church, I was also a worship leader for 6 years. So I got, after teaching myself like how to play guitar, I was able to use that talent and that gift that God gave me to lead worship. And that was a really special time because I got to do it with friends. And um, yeah, that's kind of my background. Grew up helping at Christian festivals. So I love festivals. I think they're really important. I've seen a lot of people be saved at festivals growing up. And so that was something that, I really wanted to get back into, not really knowing what was what God had me on the path to do. Um, but I just moved to Nashville and got plugged into a lot of different things. And then I don't know if you want me to talk about like the songwriting aspect or this or the management, because there's kind of like two different things that
Yeah.
happened. But
We were just
so
starting
you
off,
tell
off
me.
we were just starting off with your music background a little bit. So then I had just follow questions and part of it was more the management side we were going to. So I was going to lead into that. Then add something else I was going to bring up after the management part, if that makes sense. So
Sure. Yeah,
so
so I
now,
mean that's kind of my background, just growing
yeah.
up around festivals, listening to Christian music and being in the church and like really truly getting to understand the difference
Mhm.
between Christian music and worship music.
Exactly. And you did a lot of songwriting, so that kind of talks a little bit about your songwriting background. Obviously, there's more to it, but that's like the Cliff Note version. And for those who are
Yes.
listening, I would like to talk about songwriting, but we're here for the management side for this episode. So if anyone's like, oh, you want to hear the like the songwriting side, send Krystal a message or email or something. She'll maybe try to
Yeah.
respond or whatever. We'll do it that way. We do a lot of songwriting, so we're just trying to get some different point of view from management side. Sorry.
Sure. Yeah. No,
um,
that's all good.
So going into management, you've managed tons of artists. Like there's Ben Fuller. You can see him in the background of your wall. I don't know. I just felt like yeah. And then the Band Jaren. We had been the Rose had the Band Jaren on the podcast. It was like February, January, February, somewhere around there. I don't remember exactly when. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. All these episodes blend together after a while.
all
Like
good.
this
Yeah,
numerous
we
episode.
had fun.
Can you tell us a little bit how you got into management and tell us how that happened? Because
Yeah,
you
I
went
mean,
from
it was
songwriting to management, it looks like. So I just
sure. It was a complete God thing, if I'm honest. I had zero, like literally no idea about management. And that is what I think people know me now as the manager. And I don't think they realize like Ben was the first person that I managed, and I didn't even like it wasn't like I'm gonna go and be a manager now.
Mhm.
Um, I went into a bar one night to listen to a friend play music at a songwriter's round. I kind of got dragged there. I wasn't feeling good. I didn't want to go. And when I walked in, there was a guy singing about Jesus in this really smoky, gross bar.
Mhm.
And that happened to be Ben Fuller. And so at the end of the night, I was he was walking towards me. I walked up to him and I was like, it takes a lot of guts to sing about Jesus in a place like this. And he was like, well, thank you. I'm Ben. I'm from Vermont. And I was like, well, I'm Krystal and I'm from New Hampshire. And he was like, what? I found the only other Christian from New England. So it was very much a God thing. It was nice to just like meet somebody from New
Mhm.
England that was in Nashville doing the songwriting thing. And at the time he was a country artist. He wasn't signed, and he kind of was just in that place of he moved to Nashville for country music, but his heart was all about Jesus because he had just become a believer. I think he was 2 months fresh, sober,
Mhm.
and a brand new believer. And so I very clearly heard God say, help him. And I was like, well, I don't know anything about this. Like I know I know worship music and Christian radio, but I don't know anything about management. But I felt like God was calling me to manage him. So I said that to him. I mean, we hung out a few times. Uh and I just one day we got coffee and I said, look, I think God is literally calling me to help you and to manage you. And so I did. Here we are, 4 years later. Um, he's doing awesome. I no longer work with him. I'm working with the girls now and another up and coming artist that I'm really excited about. But we just saw him this past weekend and he's doing great. And him and the girls have a really sweet little friendship. So that's awesome. I think they're actually cutting one of his songs this year. So that'll be really cool. And they sing it live. So that's fun. But yeah, I learned a lot with Ben. I feel like we both kind of came up at the same time when it came to the industry side of Christian music. So we both were learning a lot, and I'm still learning a lot. But it was a really it was a really sweet time for sure.
Very, very cool. Me and Braden and I are both behind the scenes person, so we're more like we want to kind of like do management. And that's like where the podcast kind of it's not management, but like we don't like performing in front of people. We're like more the behind the scenes
Yeah,
people. So
yeah,
that's where that question kind of sprouted in our brain, and that's how we reached out to you and everything. So
yeah.
uh,
It's funny too because as I've learned more, like there's there's two kinds of managers. There's already established management companies,
mhm,
and then there's the best friend manager, right? The person who believes in you no matter what and is going to fight for you day after day after day, even when the artist doesn't believe in himself. Like that's what I was. And so
yeah.
now I'm able to go from the best friend manager to the I have a company now and I can help other up and coming artists hopefully, you know,
Mhm.
help come alongside them and build their careers up a little. Yeah.
And you just don't do management. Looks like you do a thing called Jesus in the Bar. That was another thing we were going to talk about. So can you tell us a little
Yeah.
the people that are listening that are not quite familiar with Nashville area events, like what that is?
Sure. So, Jesus in a Bar is a nonprofit I started with a friend, and we bring faith-based music into bars all around Nashville. We're trying to branch out and go outside of Nashville. We go into prisons, nursing homes, rescue missions, hospitals.
Mhm.
And we are probably going, I think we're going to Ireland in January, and then hopefully we'll be going into the Congo, I think, next year. Or actually it might be the end of this year, I'm not sure. So third world countries is big on our list right now, but basically we just wanted to bring faith-based testimony and music into the places we believe Jesus would be on earth today. And that's not going to be at a Christian festival. That's going to be in the places that, you wouldn't normally think would have Christian music or anyone talking about Jesus. So we're bringing that to the least of these,
Yeah.
basically. So
And
and then we have a festival in September here in Nashville, kind of like a culmination of all the people that have played for us, bringing them all together and doing a big kickoff festival and having some bands play. So it'll be exciting.
at the Songwriter Fest thing.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna bring up next, is that's what Brandon told me he met you at. So he's like, bring up that too. So it kind of all
Yes.
together. So
Yep. I remember him coming up to me. Yeah, so our it's called Storytellers Festival. It will be at Bicentennial Mall State Park in Nashville on September 21st. We run it like we wanted a festival that really pushed songwriters. There's so many festivals that are for the artists, but we really do feel called to give the songwriters a stage. And some of these
right.
songwriters who aren't the artists, even they're just songwriters, so but we wanted to give them the opportunity to come and sing their songs and share their stories too.
And for those who are in the Nashville area, either for the around the festival time or just in general, you can always check out Jesus in a Bar, see if they have a shows coming, like a show coming up when you're there, or go check out the festival. I don't know when the next Jesus in a Bar is on top of my head because they're like once a month, kind of.
See, yep, it's usually the second to last Monday of the month. Let's see if I even have it on my calendar here. I'm
Honestly,
pretty
I
sure
just
it's actually
I
next Monday.
next Monday. So
Yeah.
if you're watching this here in the Nashville area, go next Monday.
Yeah, the 17th. Yep.
I was in Nashville. I was gonna go to your last Jesus in a Bar. Actually, I was in Nashville, but I flew out that day, so like I had to fly out at like 8 p.m.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh
and Rachel
no.
Jeanette was the one that told us about it actually, and she's actually joining our podcast tomorrow. So,
Oh, that's so awesome.
so
She's
everything.
great.
So like I met her in person like when I was in Nashville. I've been in Nashville twice in the last like 4 months, and I met her the first time I was there. So,
Awesome.
but
Yeah, she's great.
we just have a few extra minutes with you because I know I like we talk about attention spans and everyone has like short attention spans.
Yes, short
Um,
attention spans. We know real style. REEL. Real. Go.
um, we just give our guests the floor to speak about anything they want to bring up or anything they want to say. So we're giving you the floor. If
Oh,
you have anything
okay.
to share, if there's anything you want to share. If you don't, it's
Let's
cool. It's just like
see.
we like give the floor.
Well, with management, I would like to say this, like the industry, the Christian music industry that I work within, it is very much all about, even it doesn't matter if you're signed, if you're not signed, it is all about the artist has to do the majority of the work, regardless of if you're with a big label or you're not. And I think that's a misconception. A lot of people think once they get, signed or onto a label, it's like, oh, the work doesn't now I can relax. It's like, no, no, no. That's when the work begins.
Right.
They're a great partner, but they definitely are not going to be the one to steer your career, which is great because that's what you want, that independence. You want to be able to say yes and to say no to things. And so, yeah, I think that there's a lot happening in music right now where being independent you can be very successful. So if don't think that you're only going to be successful if you can get on to a label. I really, you look at people like Josiah Queen who's killing it right now.
He just announced the
And
tour today, or he didn't. But he's going on tour. Force Frank. It just got announced today. So if those who are listening,
saw
check out
that.
that tour.
I saw that. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think if you have a message and a testimony that you want to share, I I would just start doing it. Don't wait. Don't think that you have to have this crazy, big platform. Just start wherever you are and go for it and let God take it and grow it.
Thanks for sharing that. And everyone take Krystal's advice. You can follow her. I'll tag her Instagram when I post it on Instagram too, guys. So you can contact her that way. So Krystal, thank you again for joining us. I know it was just me. So
Thank
the
you.
episodes are kind of all over the place. It's just me. I'm more of the
That's fine. When I see Braden, I'm just gonna give him a hard time.
He's more of a serious question. I'm more of the fun question side. So that's where we bond together, honestly. Like he's like business. I'm
Well,
like, let's have fun.
Yeah. No, I like what you guys are doing. It's great.
And thank you to everyone that tuned in. And we'll see you next time on the Christian Music Bros podcast. Thank you.